This video is the first of 2 videos on the Overblood franchise. This will be on Overblood 1, the next will be on part 2, so subscribe if you want to see it. Akihiro Hino, producer, designer, programmer, and writer of the Dark Cloud series, White Knight Chronicles, the Yokai Watch franchise, the Professor Latent games, and even the Ni no Kuni series. You know, the games that use animation by the legendary Studio Ghibli? Let's just say this man got clout in the Japanese gaming industry, being the current president and CEO of Level 5 Studios. But everyone has to start somewhere. Hino's early career was on the Overblood franchise. Developed by River Hill Soft and published by Electronic Arts for the PlayStation in 1997, it is considered the first survival horror game to make use of a fully three-dimensional virtual environment. While you can just use fixed camera angles, you have the choice to change to third or first person. Most survival horror games of the era used fixed angles or use of 3D models superimposed over pre-rendered backgrounds because of the late 90s graphics and atmosphere were hard to create with the level of 3D models media in general could make. It's why Resident Evil used pre-rendered backgrounds. It's not just because they look great years later, but also allow for higher quality models on screen without tanking the frame rate or using up too much of your CPU. Unlike Overblood 1 using low quality models, that when I emulated it, the models got ripped apart. Even Resident Evil 1, which was supposed to be an FPS and a co-op one at that originally. If it wasn't for the PS1 specs, we would have had RE5 on the PS1. Overblood is a point-and-click adventure game wishing it was a survival horror. The controls are very simple. Jump, duck, switch characters, check your inventory, and interact. With very limited combat. Being more about puzzle solving and storytelling than anything else, with occasional platforming and running away. But all of these aspects are very, very punishing. Even the ability to save will punish you for not exploring thoroughly enough, like the old Sierra Entertainment games. If you don't think to check an open chest early on, you lose the chance to save, and you will have to complete the game in one go. This almost happened to the guys at Game Informer.
A beer cooler?
What is this? Oh, this might be... I have to go like this?
You have to crouch to open it?
Jacket.
There you go.
Yes.
More of a vest, really.
Because
Great with this, I won't freeze to death.
That's what I say when I go up to the cash register when I buy my winter coat.
Whoa. Dogs. Memory chip.
Take the Mito Mola memory chip there.
I was totally going to hit leave.
Generally, the difference between freezing to death and not is a vest.
Yep, with no sleeves.
Yeah, because, you know.
You would have died in like 30 seconds if you hadn't
Or
gotten that
if you have a
vest.
vest, you're fine.
And the meter's gone completely, by the way. The blue,
Yeah.
the blue and
we have
purple
a
meter.
vest.
Yeah.
So we've already conquered the thing that just eluded us, that entire roulette.
Actually,
You wake up with amnesia, frozen in some kind of tube, trying to figure out why you're here, running into the very first obstacle, freezing to death. It's like we're playing the first level of Perfect Weapon, one of the only PS1 titles that might actually be worse than this one. But while I'm going to shit on this game, it does a surprisingly great job at establishing that you need to duck, because there's interactable objects at different levels. While it's a fucking stupid idea, it does establish very core mechanics, standing and ducking. Something you'll use in the very next room while finding a vest. Yep, sure, that'll keep me warm. Also retrieving our voice recorder for saving and a chip. Activating a little robot, our friend Pipo. Switching to him allows us to activate the terminal and find out the first major plot twist of Overblood. Our main character, Carsey, has no dick. You'll need to utilize both Raz and Pipo's abilities to progress, finding a key card in the rubble. Pipo's arm is just thin and long enough to reach it. While trying to escape, Raz finds a dead body.
Man, what a horrible way to die.
Killed from some disease that causes them to mold and mutate. Remember, just like this guy, you can die anywhere. This is a point-and-click adventure. Save before doing anything, or... Both of these involve the anti-grav device, found here. This is where I originally got trapped when I first rented this game. Never knew to just push the statue over. After getting the anti-grav device, you can go and mess with the power to open up the locked doors around the facility. Finally, we can leave. Don't forget to re-equip the gravitational device. Now we can enter the locked room and break your fucking ears. Oh boy, do you like platforming using Resident Evil style tank controls? The fuck do you mean no? Oh! Oh! Whoa! After all this, we finally turn on the power so we can get to the elevator and start to escape. Finding out Raz is infected and see what the infected can do, destroying our little robot friend. And that's the last time we see what some consider to be the mascot of the series. You know, if people cared.
Pipo. Come on, Pipo. You'll pull through, I know you can. Shake it off, Pipo. Self-diagnose, you can make it. Don't leave me, Pipo.
After searching the area, we finally find a woman being attacked by an infected. Raz, being the manly badass that he is, fights it hand to moldy mitt. Millie is her name. Not the gremlin witch from Niji Sanji, but she is our new partner in escaping, so Raz will take what he can get. Millie's also claiming that she can't remember anything either. One of the most prevalent problems with Overblood is finding items. In a point-and-click adventure title, you'll have the problem known as pixel hunting, moving your cursor till you get the click indicator to pick something up. In survival horror, you'll get a shiny or glowing object, indicating something there. Even the character you're playing turning his head to indicate something is there. But not in Overblood! No, there is nothing to see. Absolutely nothing to indicate the importance of a wall, or bookcase, or a desk. So you will mash the X button alongside every surface. Now I know what you're thinking. Not that big a deal. A lot of games do that, especially games of this era. But did you forget the first thing we learned? There are two ways of checking everything. Standing and ducking. And this section has the worst of them. So I walk out of the room after a cutscene, not thinking I needed to comb the area for necessary parts to proceed. Having to look for shit like the sample spray that explodes when shaken or heated. Oh yeah, that elevator needs to be fixed. If you duck and check under the tarp, you'll find oil to fix it. Never forget this mechanic. Surprisingly, Overblood is made well enough that you won't be soft locked. I mean, it's not hard to believe a game of this quality would soft lock you, but it's better than current AAA titles, where making a game finishable isn't even a fucking priority. But with this highly volatile chemical, we can make an opening. Just don't forget to run and dodge the anti-grav bus too. Reaching the sterilization station.
Halt! You may not proceed beyond this point until sterilization is completed.
Sterilization?
As in decontaminated.
You sure? I may want to have kids someday.
Really?
Yeah. Still, somebody should tell the computer that it's a little late to be worried about contamination.
No kidding.
And being unable to open the door, Raz goes full imposter. Oh god, I fucking hate myself. Using the ventilation system to reach the controls with some hilariously dangerous situations. With a mold zombie ambush. Did Resident Evil 7 steal this? You start to learn the origins of the virus. Its original use was to prolong life and create super soldiers.
The military's playing us for fools. We've got to shut down the project.
Don't be absurd.
This was supposed to be about enhancing longevity, improving immunological defenses, but they've corrupted it.
You're naive if you thought we could limit how our findings are applied. Sure, we may not like...
Now who's being naive? Any good that might have come of this will never see the light of day. We're only helping them create their synthetic soldiers, mindless killers.
It's a trade-off. Think of the medical advantages.
Think of the death.
Don't be so overly dramatic. All we're doing is enhancing some natural genetic selections. It's as natural as cross-selecting these trees for strength and beauty.
Raz is slowly succumbing to the virus, making him special since people usually instantaneously change into mold zombies. At least that's what someone watching our every move thinks. That and Millie seems to be of importance to him, meaning he wants us out of the picture for her safety, or maybe he's not that big of a fan of NTR.
No, we must destroy him. Besides, we don't have the facilities anymore to contain him safely.
Separating the subject from Dr. Asraid may complicate her rescue.
I don't want any excuses. I'm only interested in saving her and killing him. Is that clear?
Understood.
Now's as good as any time to talk about the shit animation and models, just in case you haven't noticed yet. It's honestly the worst aspect of Overblood. It's the only game I've played where every aspect of animation is horrible. Just standing there, jumping, walking, running, walking upstairs, and that's just gameplay. Cutscenes where the developers control every single fucking aspect are somehow even worse. You saw the earlier Pipo section fighting a mold zombie, but look at the rest. Fighting the mold zombie here in this elevator, it's embarrassing. How Raz pins him to the wall. Every cutscene feels like someone playing with our action figures. Even if they were using action figures, they would still be put to shame by shows like Robot Chicken. It's bad. The models, when you put them under emulation, are so bad they're tearing themselves apart. Let alone when I have to do anything else. Like using a number pad. Just look at his glove. Is bacon wrapped around his hand? In just about every death animation. But all of this is what makes Overblood a fun bad game. I played this 3 times through. Before this video once, and 2 more times for this video. And I laughed every single time. With Raz slowly figuring out that even Millie is in on the action here.
Accordingly, I am demanding an immediate suspension of the counterfeit project. Signed, Millie Azray, Project Associate Director.
Millie wrote this. She's been in on it the whole time.
She wasn't necessarily evil like the others. She was trying to use the research for people's means in the advancement of the human race. But as usual in science fiction, the military had other ideas. Now, after making an impossible jump and creating a bridge for Millie, we learned something pretty crucial. That this company has the ability to manipulate memories. That might be why Raz doesn't know anything. Keep this in mind, it'll be very important for the rest of the series. But now, Raz can't control himself anymore, and ends up going full Bruce Campbell Evil Dead 2 style. But with Millie's training and scientific know-how, she's able to save Raz. But that doesn't exactly make the voice over the intercom happy.
This would seem to require fine-tuning.
Fine-tuning? He's completely out of his mind.
Precisely. Just what the military ordered. We must preserve this subject for refinement.
I say there is no need. There is no need. I'm not interested in him. I want him dead. It's Millie that we've got to save.
After becoming a 3 days grace skillet love child, Raz returns back to normal, and with Millie, continues their escape from this nightmare. Now, while everything else in the game is terrible, the concepts aren't. The implementation of everything hurts Overblood, but the one thing it does get right is the fact that you never feel like a puzzle's bullshit. Now hear me out, most old school point and click adventures and survival horror games would force you into doing something stupid, like finding a can opener to open a can of light bulbs, or saving a random rat in the streets to save you an hour later in prison. There's a natural flow so that you can put the pieces together in your head without a walkthrough. Like you have an explosive chemical, why not use that to blow up this damaged wall? Even though it's stupid that they want you to duck to check everything, like checking this floor grate, you'll check it because of the sound of running water nearby, finding a gold key card underneath. And you'll naturally assume you need to cut the grate to obtain it. You might need a walkthrough to find the cutter in the first place, but at least you understand what you need and why you need it. While not as brain dead as Walking Dead, you will always understand the progression of things. The problem is finding the stuff you need to make progress. Now after getting everything you need, leaving the area, we finally have all the cards on the table. Millie and Raz were awakened by an earthquake alongside the mold monsters deep within the lab. The scientists here were doing cloning experiments on top of the super soldier serum.
Bruce has already evacuated everything essential, but the center must be destroyed to prevent the virus from being released into the environment. But our subjects! The subjects? Don't make me laugh. I know what you're interested in, that clone. Forget it. She's expendable.
How dare you? She's everything I've worked for. I won't sacrifice her.
For goodness sake, it's not her. It's it. And it isn't worth risking our lives for.
You think of her as just another entry in your logbook. But she's real. Flesh and blood. As real to me as she ever was.
Face it. She's not your Millie. She's just a clone.
This conversation is pointless. The self-destruct mechanism is set for 24 hours, and
I didn't authorize that! You better hope I have time to save her, or you'll pay!
Take it easy. What's done is done.
Never! I won't lose her! Whatever it takes! My Millie!
My Millie?
Millie being a top researcher that died and is now a clone of the shadowy figure's dead wife, surprisingly knowing everything because she was given her memories back, including how she died originally. This is where all the fun gets pushed out of a third-story window head first, because this chapter of the game is heavily combat focused. Now I know it looks like you're watching a DSP playthrough. I promise you it's because of the awful controls. Mainly it being tank controls with no lock-on. Period. Made even worse because of the fact that you are unarmed most of the time. It never stops being horribly awkward. Since enemies jump around everywhere and Raz controls like trash, it's almost impossible to hit something. Earlier we did get a gun, but since this is a survival horror game at heart, you want to save it. That and your health sprays. Also because of the awful menu system with one item showing up at a time and having to go through everything you collected throughout the playthrough is already bad enough, but could you imagine the game not stopping when you paused? Don't worry, you don't have to imagine it because it fucking doesn't. Fight after fight after fight finally leads Raz and Millie to the Star Wars Episode 6 Resident Evil 4 style speeder bike chase through a dilapidated cave.
Damn, the battery's going dead. We're going down.
Raz! Up ahead!
We're gonna have to bail out. Get ready.
I'm with you!
Are you all right?
Oh, yeah. In one piece.
Somehow the voice from above controls the mold now. I have no idea why. Kidnapping Millie and forcing Raz to rescue her. Finding even his fellow scientists shot dead. And now this man's going to tell us everything.
Who the hell do you think you are? Don't you know by now? I am Raz Carsey.
No!
Zeus, light please. You're nothing but a clone of me.
Me? A clone? It's not true.
You're nothing but a lab experiment, cultured from a single hair from my head. You're nothing.
You're lying.
You know it's the truth. You don't have a memory, do you? That's because I didn't give you one. What does a lab rat like you need with a memory? You're just one in a long line of experiments, and the experiment is over.
Raz is a clone, and the original was married to Millie, and abused all the research Hayano Labs made to clone his dead wife. To cover up all the evidence, he killed the other doctors and is planning on killing you, and taking his wife back. Millie, after all said and done, chooses our Raz, causing Dr. Raz to lose it.
Time's up, clone.
Don't!
Aftershock! No! It's not fair. No, no, no. I was him. I was so close.
After defeating this Birkin wannabe, our only way of escape is through an elevator. But only the supercomputer Zeus stands in our way. And with time running out and the lab self-destructing, Raz has no choice but to replace Zeus with Pipo.
Decoding SR-19 memory. Visual check. Voice recognition. Fingerprint search. Behavior pattern recognition. Judgment pattern. Physical
Come on, confirm already.
Identification pattern confirmed. SR-19 memory positive. Recognition positive. Hello, Raz Carsey. Good to see you again. You may enter.
Thank you, Pipo.
Making another selfless sacrifice to save us, unlocking the elevator, but evil Raz isn't down for the count, and forces us to fight him one last time. If you're unable to stunlock him, this is fairly difficult, honestly coming off as RNG to win, with a strict time limit. And the only way to kill him is through the jet's propulsion system.
Exterior gates open. Passage clear.
Finally escaping the facility before it self-destructs. And now, Raz and Millie the clones can have a future of their own. This is the purest form of a good bad game. Not very long, funny subjects, and bad game mechanics. But does it live up to its sequel? You'll have to find out. If you'd like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to get it done as fast as possible, but it might take a little bit. It's a lot bigger than I was expecting. So if you've gotten this far, thank you. And be ready for the next one.